I really, really, really like cottage cheese. I really do. I don't know if it's been an acquired taste or what, but I really like it. I like its taste. I like its texture. I like how white it is in the bowls. And I found out that it's pretty good protein, actually, and if you have too many donuts on any particular day, it's nice to level out the sugars with cottage cheese. So because all of those things were true last Wednesday, I was really looking forward to my cottage cheese lunch. And I thought about it really, actually, a lot for about 2 hours before lunch. So I got into the kitchen, I brought out the pepper in my little red bowl that I tend to eat it out of, and then I opened the plastic lid, prying it open. Sometimes those things are very difficult to open. And, ugh, my drooling turned to gagging as I noticed the mold all over the top, totally spoiled, smelled awful. As a matter of fact, I was going to use it for a show and tell today, but it was just too pungent. Ugh. You never know what you're going to find in a CSC refrigerator. Those flecks of gray where white should have been told me in absolutely no uncertain terms that this was not what I thought it was. It no longer was as good as it looked. This wise God-man is telling us, inviting us into realizing the importance of what's inside of us. That what's going on inside of us is the most important thing. Our attitudes, our virtues, our hopes and dreams. He tells us in these words, it is not what you swallow that pollutes your life, it's what you vomit that pollutes your life. That's the real pollution, he says. These things are on the inside, like your evil thoughts, like unchastity and greed and envy and arrogance and folly. These you are vomiting from your heart. There, right there, is the source of your pollution. This wise man God, who carries the wisdom of the ages inside of him, is on to something about you and about me. Something we try to hide, and perhaps we hide it so well that we don't even see it in ourselves, much less the need to do this important work. In my all too brief dating life, I would find myself wondering sometimes when things were not working out, gosh, she's not the person I thought she was. Then I would proceed to think to myself of all the things wrong with her, partly, to be honest with you, so that it wouldn't hurt so much to not be with her. Till one day, one afternoon, truth knocked me up the side of the head. Truth spoke to me, and you know what truth said to me? I wonder, Gary, if she's sitting at home right now thinking to herself, Gary's not the person I thought he was. That yucky stuff in us, it threatens to spoil what's good in us. And we've got to open it up, you and I. We've got to be brave enough to open it up and cut it out, scoop it out, get rid of it, so that it doesn't spoil what's good in us. And so that we quit vomiting that junk onto other people and into our work day in and day out. We got to open it up. Maybe even take the risk to trust somebody, somewhere, this about me, and literally begin to talk to God about it. Literally inviting Jesus, this wise man God, into that yucky place inside of us, so that it doesn't carry such reign over our choices and our emotions day in and day out, so we don't get so stuck, so that we can be transformed, so that we can cut it out if that's possible. Cut the mold off the cheese and get back to really enjoying ourselves and others, enjoying my life and your life. Avoiding the mold, I've learned way too often, won't get rid of it. Pretending it's not there isn't going to help at all. It just makes things worse. These things will not go away on their own. We got to work at this stuff. We got to do our work. We got to work to get rid of these things, you and I, because there is this gray stuff growing inside of us, and unless we work with it, some at least, and do our best to change those toxic attitudes that do nothing good in any relationship in our lives, and as a matter of fact can destroy them, our behaviors will never change in the external world. We'll just go on doing the same thing, fighting about the same thing. Every time we have an argument with our spouse or our best friend, it's going to be about the same thing, because we don't go to the cause of why that keeps happening. Not in them, but in myself. I worry that we spend so much time looking in a mirror to see if we look good on the outside. And we don't take a fraction of that amount of time, you and I, to look at what's going on in here. Maybe we're too busy. Maybe it's too hard. There's so many students in my random survey I talked to in the past 2 weeks that said, I asked them when I saw them, when I met them, maybe the first time after 3 months or for the first time, what do you want to work on this year? And their eyes just crossed. What do you mean, Father? What do you want to work on? Sometimes we miss the very things that I keep vomiting onto my relationships and to my work. You know, I've seen so much incredible devotion in some people. So much devotion on the outside, you know, in some believers. Orthodox and all, bowing and scraping, kneeling, all pious looking and everything. And on the inside, they're falling apart. After time and conversation, I begin to see that the very thing I admired in them is sometimes a mask, not on purpose, but a mask for this incredible fear they carry that runs their lives. They're not all like that, but sometimes that's true. The truth is, it doesn't matter how nice the plastic container for the cottage cheese looks. It doesn't matter if the bottle of milk is all nice and plastic or metal now or whatever they make them out of so you don't get cancer. All white and silky and all. If it's spoiled, it's spoiled. If it's sour on the inside, it's sour on the inside, and somebody's going to smell it or taste it sometime before long. And so standing at the beginning of this new year, I think it's a great time to ask the question, what do I want to be working on this year for myself and for others' sake? What do I want to be working on so that I'm more capable of love, so I'm more capable of life, so that I can experience the fullness of things? What do I want to be working on? And if you're having a hard time getting at it, just look at the things you keep fighting about in your relationships that matter the most to you. That's the outside of something on the inside that you're not fixing because it just keeps happening. What's your New Year's resolution? It's a great time, it seems to me, to check out what's been in that fridge, or as we older folks in St. Louis say, that icebox, for way too long now. Let's take some time this week to look, you and I, and encouraging each other that we're all doing it. To take some time, Not to look at the latest zit, or the last hair that fell out, or the newest wrinkle, but at the inside, at what's going on inside. Because we know that if that stuff isn't worked on and removed, people who get to know us, who share life with us, just might end up gagging at what they see. Create in me a clean heart, O God. Shelter me in the shadow of your wing. Create in me a clean